Hey guys, it's Ellen here, and it's Mindy Monday Madness, and I thought let's have some fun with some characters again. We haven't done them in a while. Let's do some fun little spring characters. We got like a little snail and a turtle, the mini turtle on there. I go over step by step and even how to draw them. And the color choices I chose, I just chose what I did. You can change it all up to make it girly or anything you want to do. If you're a Patreon member, you get a bonus traceable as a frog that goes with this. So if you're not a Patreon member, check it out. Boop, here I have ad-free videos, traceables, and exclusive tutorials on Thursdays for Patreon members. It's a place people can go and support my channel, which I appreciate so much. Also, please don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know my tutorials up. So without further ado, let's get painting some cute guys. Okay, so I'm going to go over my supplies. I have 2 pieces of 3-inch square arch 100% cotton cold pressed paper. I have my Princeton 8 and 4 long round velvet attached series brush, paper towels, paints, water jars. I always put the paints that I use in the description box and I go over them as I use them. If you're a Patreon member, you can download the traceable, and there's a bonus traceable. It's a cute little frog also. So if not, I'll just show you how to draw a simple little turtle. So the little turtle, it's kind of like his shell, okay? So let me just pick an upside down frown, you know, or like whatever you want to call that. And then you can put his little line here, and I'm just going to curve outward just a little bit, and then you go there, kind of look a little hat, and then you're going to do his little head peeking through, little legs, just a little like roundish rectangle kind of legs, right? And you can do a smaller one on top, the baby turtle. And then here you're just going to put like circles or kind of like funky, you know, not real circle shapes, but you can put all kinds of patterns in here. You could actually do, if you don't want just do circles, you could put flowers. You want to make it more girly. There's the eye and the mouth. And then the snail. So let's curve that like that. Boop, eyeball. Boop, eyeball. So it's 2 circles. I would just say out to 2 lines, kind of curve the line. And then here you're going to curve it again. And this is where his body comes into play. Go around. And you're going to do around and around and around and around and around. And then you do a little tail. A little smiley face. A little circle in the eye. A little circle in the eye. And then the mushrooms. I have so many tutorials on mushrooms. Just a little, again, you know, kind of a curve. Upside down frown, and then 2, and then you can put polka dots, and then there's the grass, or you could put flowers out here, whatever you like. And that's that. Like again, I said, if you're a Patreon member, you can get the traceables, and there's another one that goes with it, a bonus one. So again, so we have all the little, I have my little sketched in turtles here. I lost my little circles. You could do circles and oblong shape, kind of funky circles for the turtle, and any colors you want. You can make turtle green and pink and orange, blue. I'm gonna mostly make him green. Lots some other colors. I've got my Princeton 8 long round. Put some water on it. I'll grab my cadmium yellow deep. Put it right here. Grab my peacock blue. Make a nice pretty green between the 2 colors. The yellow. Like a 50-50, maybe a little more yellow. So like a 60-40. Play around with the greens. You want to have some light greens, some dark greens. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to paint the turtle first. And it, you know, you're going to want to have light greens, medium greens. So I'm just going to start off, paint around his eyeball. Paint in with the green. Now, because I'm using this paper, I can do the wet on wet technique. If you're not using expensive, well, this, I'd say this paper's kind of expensive. You can just paint it flat with the watercolor. But the whole point of this paper is we can play around with bleeding in some darker tones. So I did put a lot of water in here. It's probably about the consistency of wasabi with a little water to it. Wasabi is that pasty mustard you get when you have sushi. So it's still damp, basically. Putting in the color, filling it in. And we'll make a darker green by adding some Prussian blue. Look at that, right into that green we have. I'll add a little more yellow. It's very watery. I want to get it less, you want it less watery when you're kind of bleeding color in, because then it spreads too much. I'm going to add some of this burnt umber, more of the Prussian blue. See how dark that is. If it's still watery, you can just kind of tap it on the paper towel, get rid of the excess water. And so you can just take it with the tip of your brush and just tap, 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 tap. See, it's already bleeding because it's very damp. Just a little technique. You don't have to use this technique. See, I'm doing on the edges here while it's still damp. And it has like a nice little bleed to it. This one might have dried too fast. If that's the case, you clean off your brush, get some water, and you can just kind of push that around. You know, push it around. Be mean to it. Put a little more here. Play around with where you want the bleed. You don't necessarily have to put the same bleed where I did. And if you want to even get darker still, I even have darker, more concentrated green right in here and on the edge. See? It still bleeds, but it doesn't bleed as much. Just go like that. Da-da. It's a little bit darker still. That's just a little trick. Now, I'm not sure if I like this bleed. I might clean up my brush and just kind of grab a little water and kind of push that around, manipulate it a little bit. So I get how I want it to look. It is no like rocket science to painting this little cute little turtle. We're just gonna have fun painting it. Now the shell, you can keep it green, make it lighter green, make it an orange, make it whatever you want. I might play around with some color. I might make this shell like an orange, a fun orange, yellow color. It doesn't have to be green. We're having fun here. So I got this brilliant orange, which I love. You don't even have to make the orange. I already have it. I'm gonna add a little yellow to it though. And a little burnt umber. Oh, that's bright. So I'm going to tone it down a little bit more. What's in brown? I always tap it on paper towel to get the excess water off. I am going to paint around my circles because I'm not sure yet if I'm going to make the circles a green or a yellow. So if I don't touch them, I can, you know, keep them white, and then the color I won't have to worry about it. If you were going to paint a darker color over that, you know, it wouldn't be a problem. So painting around the circles. Like I said, his shell doesn't have to be green or brown. Make it whatever you want. I'm kind of leaving a little white line that's from the bottom shell to the top. And again, we can still do the bleed technique with the orange that we have here. See, some of it's getting really light over here. So we're going to take a darker value. Got the very orange and the brown. Maybe a little magenta. Just kind of bleed around. It can bleed around the circles. That's kind of a cool look. See? Bleeding around the circles. I can add a little brighter brown, orange. See how cool that looks? And when we paint the other color in there, just a different way to make it like a, this is more of an illustrative approach to watercolor. And a lot of people have different techniques they use. Sometimes you don't even know it's watercolor, the way they paint. So we're using bleeding in a different way. I'm going to go back in and add some darker orange over here. And then you can even get darker still. I'm going to grab some magenta and brilliant orange, almost like a red orange, and play around with this section here and make it just a little bit darker. And then I can do the shell up here on the edge a little bit darker too. I kind of like that bleed around the circle. Kind of cool, right? So for the little guy, you do the same approach. You can make him green. Little legs. It's really tiny, so bleeding his little legs or her little legs might be a little tricky. I wouldn't worry too much about it. And the eye. And if you paint over the white circle for the eye, don't fret. If you have some white gouache, you can go back in and use the gouache. And for this one, remove the orange. I'm gonna make the shell like a yellow color. So that's a bright yellow. I might add a little burnt umber, dull it down. And I'm just gonna paint the whole thing. I'm not gonna do the same technique because it's tiny. You're gonna go crazy trying to figure that out. You can use the same yellow as a little mushroom over here. And then I'm going to make some red mushrooms. So I got my magenta, grab some of my yellow, mix it together and make a nice bright red. And I'll put that over here. I'll go back in it with some gouache and make some nice polka dots. And make it you can make the mushrooms whatever color you want. I mean, they could be blue and brown. Who cares? Might do a little brown on this one. And then the same thing with their stems. Obviously the grass would be green. So we're gonna have to wait till this dries and we can move on to our little snail guy. Try and do the two things at once. I would put the stems in right now, but everything's gonna get bleeding because it's wet. So we're gonna switch. Zoom back out. I didn't realize I was so zooming in, zooms in, zoom in. So I'm gonna make his body that red color. So I have that magenta mixed with the yellow, a nice bright red. I'm gonna water this down just a bit. He's a funny little snail. And you could do the same techniques with the wet on wet here, just in the rectangular shape. Just going to go around the circle. I'm not going to fill it all in. I'm going to leave that white. Little eyes. The tail is going to be the same color as the body. Now, I might make the squirrely part yellow and the rest of it orange, but then he's already orange, right? So we kind of want to make it different. So I think I'm going to do the body yellow and then the squirrely part maybe orange, because you want them to kind of coordinate as like a little set. So you can work on the little mushrooms. You can make this one orange, nice and bright orange. You can make them purple and brown. Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna care. I'm actually gonna make this, grab this Verdier blue that I have, the magenta, and make this purple color. Like I said, make it any color you want. I decided to do some purple, put some bright purple in here. And since I want them both to coordinate, I'm gonna switch back over and grab this guy and maybe use the purple under the red for the stem. You gotta coordinate somehow, right? Go back and grab the orange again up here for this mushroom. Still using my Princeton 8. I can control it fairly well, so I'm going to keep using it. Making sure this is not wet, because we want to paint the body when this is not wet, because it would be a disaster. And under these mushrooms, I can do a little brown. This is the burnt umber. You can mix it up for these guys. Might do a little red under the orange one. So I'm going to wait till that one dries, and we're going to switch back and forth. All right. Put a little red under this one. I like a little bit colorful and under this one. Now we're going to figure out what we're going to do in the circles here. Let's have a little fun with that. Let's make some color in there. I'm going to take probably the blue. I have the two blues. I have ultramarine blue and Verdier blue, but I like ultramarine. So I'm just going to water some of that down. And I'm just going to go on the inner circle. So I'm going to leave outline of white. Do an outline of blue. Now I can fill it all in, or I don't have to. I can leave some outline and do another color. So I'm going to play around with doing both. Right, some that are filled in completely with the blue, and some that just have the outline. And then we'll do another color. And what will the color be? Well, purple will be an opposite of orange, which would be nice, but I think the red would be kind of pretty. So let's try. Or I could even do the yellow. Let's try one with yellow. See how we like it. I could always put a red dot in the center too. The yellow's kind of bright and fun. It's different. And when the blue dries, you can add like another deeper color of blue in here. Meanwhile, back at the farm, when we have some of those bright greens, we can make some grasses in the ground underneath the turtle. So I just grab some green. I'm just going to go under here. Legs. You can just take your brush, wisp up, see? Wisp up some grass like this. Put some grass under him. I will make it a little bit darker just because his legs are lighter. So I'm going to go back in and fix that. But I want to put some light grasses up here too, where the mushrooms are. Little teeny ones under the body. So you can go back in and grab that darker green that you have. If you don't have one, just make one with the Prussian blue and the yellow. A little burnt umber. Ooh, it's like really brown. And just kind of fill that dark green in. See? Under his little legs. We are going to do like a even darker green like for his feet. I'll show you in a minute. I think I left it out in the sketch, but I'm not sure. So we're going to have to let this bleed dry. Put the dark wisps of grass over here too. And you want to take a little more of that bright green. You can kind of push this down a little more too. Right down here. Okay. Also, we can go back into that shell and grab some of that brilliant orange or whatever orange you have that's bright. Because I feel like it got dull, right? Too dull. Go back in and make it fun. Gonna make it a little bit brighter. And at this point, I can go in and take the orange and make little orange circles for this guy. You want to keep it fun. It's tiny. I can use a smaller brush, but I didn't. I chose not to. Okay, we're switching back again. Back to this guy, and look at mushrooms really dried really light. So I'm going back in and adding that bright, pretty orange on top of it again. So now I'm going to do his shell. Oops, I'm not yellow. I'm going to make it yellow. And then I do the brilliant orange on it. So I really like it to be bright. So I've decided, as I was painting that one dull, I'm going to change it to bright. And you know, this is what happens when you're painting. Sometimes you realize, ugh, I don't like the color. You can play with painting the colors on like a little piece of scrap first and see if you like them. So I'm just going to fill this whole thing in with this brilliant, bright cadmium yellow deep. And we can do that wet under technique again on the edges while it's damp. I'd wait like a few seconds though, because you don't want it really bleeding in. And I would put like a yellow orange. So grab the cadmium yellow, the brilliant orange. Just a little bit of the orange with that yellow. Really thick. I'm just going to tap it right on the edge of this whole shell. Just like that. And it will bleed in pretty. We can do the green here on the bottom too. Just be careful with this, that you don't get it touching it yet, because it could bleed with a little white. Fill in the bottom. I'm going to put a little more water here just to dull it down a little bit. And you can add some darker greens. Do that wispy grass again. Kind of grab some darker green. Whisk that grass up. Put some of that darker green down here. Just like we do that. That one's a little bit darker, but you can also make like little fun dots when it gets really dry. Do, 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 do. My sound effects. This area got really dry. I'll go back in with that light green. Okay, we have to wait till that one dries. This is a back and forth kind of scenario, guys. This is when you use a little brush. So I got the number 4. I'm going to grab this red that I made. I'm going to grab some magenta and yellow. Make that pretty red. Just a little bit of water. I might go back in here again. See, I'm going to play around with this. And add some red around. I just felt like it needs a little something something. And you didn't have to do orange. You could have done pink. You know, if you want to be a girl turtle. Pink turtle shell would be pretty. Go back in and grab the ultramarine blue. Just write a little bit of water and make the blue center darker. Now I kind of wish I did all the things blue, because I kind of like that look, but I didn't, so I'm going in and adding darker blue here on the edges. I would do like an orange in the center here too. So for his little feet, I'm just going to put a little line here and these little scallop edges. You could do green. I'm doing the dark blue. Just want to change it up a little bit. Little nibs on his feet. And then the blue stripe on the stem of this mushroom. And then you can make blue polka dot on the brown. Right, clean up your brush. The red is much more concentrated now. I can do a stripe on this one. Zoom in so you can see better. Same thing with this one. No, the yellow could be a little red polka dot or orange. I'm gonna do red, tiny little polka dots. Teeny tiny. And I'm gonna add the red center to this. I'm just gonna play around. And then we can add the red also to the little guy. and then dark little feet. And then we do some little spots on the turtle here. For his mouth, you just whatever black or dark gray you have. Make a little smile here. A little smile on this guy. Might add a little more pretty green on his legs. It gets really tricky when they're tiny, but you guys can figure that out. And it'd be kind of cute if you add some polka dots to the turtle. Gonna go back in and grab some red, pinkish red. This one, I'm gonna add some little polka dots. Again, I wanted like a pattern on his shell. And then if you have some white gouache, you can fix the eye, and you can do polka dots on the red. So I'm just grabbing some gouache I have over here and just doing simple little dots on that mushroom. And then the eye missed. I painted too much, so you can paint. See if you messed up, you can just put the white gouache in there from the eyes. And then we'll go back in and we'll put a little black dot in there. If you want to do like, again, grab some, I have my Prussian blue and yellow. Make like a dark green. Little wisps. Or even like little dashes for grass. Little V's. Add a little pattern. See? Grass back here. Little legs. He can have little striped legs. Be cute. Okay, same thing with this. We're going to put in a little bit darker green here. Going to wash that in. Woohoo! See, just washed it in. Take it again, and we'll just do these little wisps. And then for the little squirrely cube, I was going to do yellow. Orange. It could be red, it could be pink. Got that brilliant orange. I'm just going to go with the brush itself. You don't even have to do too much. Go on the outer edge. I still feel like that red is going to be a little bit brighter, so I'm going back in with the red. It just dried so dull. It looks more like a dead red than a pretty red. I want it to be bright. And we could do the red again on the polka dot on the mushroom. With this brush. And stripe on this one. I'm just going to grab my brush has got yellow on it. Ultramarine blue. Go right over that purple. And do a little stripe. And then for the brown down here, you could do a stripe down here or whatever you want pattern. Don't have to put a pattern down there. Again, put some grass up here. So you can get even cuter with a little snail guy with the oranges. You can put like a dot around it, but I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to let that dry. And then for the eye, you can paint the little dot black. Oops. That's a little too much water. Really tiny eye. Hi, smiley guys. This is still wet. I have to let it dry to put the mouth in. So you can play around at this point with brasses, and if you want to put like a little flowers in there. I might grab my white gouache. I could put little daisies. Now they weren't in the sketch, but this is where you just change things around as you go. Right? Can add some little daisies. And then just grab some of your yellow, pretty concentrated, just stick it right in the middle. If the red's dry, you can put the little smile. First we'll do the eyes. This brush is tiny. Get that. Just a little dot right there. Just going to test that. See, it's a little damp still. I'm afraid that it's going to bleed, so I'm going to let that dry and come back. Oh, I hope you guys didn't miss anything when I was going back and forth, because I realized I might have had it zoomed in still. Alright, if I was neglecting that, I'm usually trying to be conscious of zooming in and zooming out with the dots and the eyes. You know, it's basically taking a black gouache, or you could use Payne's Gray and make the little smileys and the dots for the eyes. And then here is just all about tweaking. You know, I just did the little flowers. You can go back in and add some shadows with the red. Make it a little bit darker. Gonna make that red just a little bit darker. Just to put look a little darker here. You know, all these little tweaks. You want to make it a little bit darker on the eye out here. You play around with. You can add little dots to your snail shell if it seems kind of boring. Little polka dots. You know. Give it a little more pattern and fun. And that's pretty much that. I'm gonna erase the little pencil lines I had over here. But, you know, have fun with it, guys. This is supposed to just be a fun little tutorial. Cute little characters. Sometimes it's good to play. You can always be serious. And I was trying to think of, like, what am I gonna do for Mini Monday today? I want to do something fun. So now when this dries, you can go back in with the grass and go over the shell area. And you could add some flowers, you know, to make it more. You can add some like pink flowers or whatever you want to do to this one. Same thing with this guy. Whatever floats your boat. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Mini Monday Madness of little cute little buggy character. Well, bug. That's a bug. That's a turtle. And like I said, the Patreon members, there's a frog one too, bonus. So if you have any questions in the comment section, please don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know my tutorial is up. And that's about it. So have fun. Change the colors around. Maybe the turtle shell should have been purple with blue. Kind of cool. I don't know why I did yellow and orange. I would have done it maybe different. I would have done a couple of different ones, but that's what I did. So take care, guys, and I'll speak to you soon.